think we are rolling. Good morning. Top of the morning for some, I suppose. Chat has been disabled. Let's see what's going on here real quick. There's always some little kink in the system, right? Looks like it's okay to me. We'll see what happens. Time. Morning, everybody popping in. Sorry about that. Just a minor technical issue decided to raise its ugly head. Alright, now it's working. Back this up a little bit. All right. I forgot my mug. Leave that. There we go. See if I can push this next one up a little bit. So let's see, orange pencil. Support over here. What our other arm is doing. It's the only complaint about this one. So we get to see the other arm. Alright, so we're trying to keep these playing with kind of boxes more. Just a way of playing with the design a little bit is boxing everything up. I appreciate that. And Dr. Southern. Yeah, it's funny. Figure drawing is actually the thing I've taught the most over the years. It's like it's the first thing I taught. So not something I'm currently teaching, but does fall a little bit into that category of the character design part of the class that I teach. But like I figure drawing's been like my jam for like 20 years, basically. When I first started teaching, which is funny, just because that job of teaching I got initially was case of mistaken identity. They thought some drawings that they saw on some whiteboards on campus, they assumed they were mine. I didn't figure this out till much later, after a couple of years of teaching there. I was like, oh no, those aren't mine. Those are Michael Leonard, who's probably a doctor now. He was double majoring in illustration and pre-med. Went on to medical school. I haven't heard of him since he graduated, but I don't even think he's on socials. Like I've looked him up a couple times over the years, and I never see him. But yeah, they thought his drawings were mine. I'm like, nope. They're like, oh well. Yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with some of these design things by maybe boxing up everything. So that's what I did last time. Kind of turned everything into boxes and trying to keep all the lines really straight and very boxy, even in the finished drawing. Just to kind of play a little bit with the design. I do wish I could see your other arm, though. Yeah, normally I construct the figure using ovoids and cylinders, like the teaching process I use, just because it keeps students more loose, and it's a little faster to do in terms of hand gestures. But I teach a construction process. So I like to try out new things. I think I want to kind of play around with more is these the Riley rhythms. So I kind of incorporated those a little bit into some of the drawing I've been doing lately, but not specifically with kind of observational stuff. Let's see, next there. And she's got some big goofy hammer she's running around with here. boxify it all. Yeah, fun fact, when drawing the figure, there's kind of a couple of important proportional things to pay attention to. So a lot of times you kind of use the head as a standard unit of measure with the figure. Well, if you think about the rib cage, it's about, if you were to like complete the egg shape that it kind of makes from the front view, that egg shape is about 2 heads tall. We just cut that in half, and then it's about 2 heads wide at its widest point. And then the xiphoid process is down there at 1 head down. And then the pelvis itself is about 1 head tall and 2 heads wide. So the midline through it for the joints is about 2/3 of the way down for the joints. But that's actually one of the big differences between the male and the female skeleton, is that the male skeleton is a full head tall, while the female one's actually quite a bit shorter than that. And that's part of what gives that difference in the silhouette of the male versus the female silhouette, among other things. But that's why the hip sway or whatever is more dynamic, is because there's a bigger change when you have something that's like this, around that size, versus something that's almost like just a cube or a taller rectangle sitting in there. That's one of the kind of the big differences that's readily apparent between the sexes. For those that are curious. Yeah, it makes helps when you're trying to delineate those things. Alright, we got the boxes in there. Let's go ahead and start putting in structure. And my goals here is kind of make everything super boxy. So I'm using lots of straight lines. Good morning over there on Kick. Just doing some figure warm-ups today from some pin reference. Playing around with the shape making in terms of the boxifying things as opposed to keeping them strictly natural. So more straight lines, more parallel lines when possible. Just using pin reference today, I kept getting yelled at by a D line for drawing standard like figure drawings from some reference packs. It's fine. It's just just silly. Um, I'm just trying to keep the lines super straight, forms very boxy. I'll keep reminding myself so I don't smooth things out. Must have been a shadow. Thought I saw my dog walking over here, but no, he's just staying right where he's at. There's the sternal notch. I should put my microphone right next to my pencil for the full ASMR experience, right? It's funny that people like made a whole genre out of that sounds and stuff. It's a little weird, but whatever, right? Correct perspective on that face. goes there, and that goes there. The ear is there. We're looking at the bottom of her jaw. Okay, her inserts in there. Let's get the general shadows laid out, and then we will get some darker lines on here. Get straight, sharp edges on everything. Good morning, people popping in. How are we doing? How am I doing? That's the question, right? All right. Okay, I get some ink on here. Pop that bubble first. Straight lines. Good morning, everybody popping in. Good morning, people popping in. Dipping that too deep. Hopefully I don't make a mess on here. Alright, well, have a good one. I'm on for the next 30 minutes, I think, so. Good morning. Over on the Twitch side, how are we doing? How is the void? That's how kids all talk about the black cats now, right? Call them voids. I see. Hello. Lurkers over there on the Twitchy side of things. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask me any questions or anything. I don't mind talking while working, as I like to say. Been teaching for a long time, so I have an ability to speak and draw at the same time. Took a lot of practice because most people it's really hard to do. I had a professor who, as soon as he would start demoing, he would use the wrong words for things. So when he was demoing, like he would call, he was like doing a painting of a little frog or something in acrylic. He would call it a giraffe or elephant or something. Inert, huh? Yeah, so one of the things I'm kind of experimenting with here is just kind of keeping everything super boxy for these warm-ups for now. I'll do other things later on, but lots of straight lines almost entirely. Let's see, T section there. It's a good idea to practice, your techniques. It's interesting, this paper is pretty relatively rough compared to the paper I was using before. Those Byrne Stillman Zeta sketchbooks. Ordered actually a couple of those to have on hand. Yeah, I definitely prefer it. Like I can draw on the computer and paint on the computer and do 3D stuff and all that, but given the option, I would probably shift to all traditional media. It's one of the things actually we're looking at the university I'm teaching at. There's a concept drawing class, and so it's like the basics of concept art, using silhouettes to design with, and some animal drawing and people drawing and perspective and a bunch of things like that. And kind of advocating for the class if we move it to the sophomore year to have it all done with analog media. So all pencil and pen and that. I think it would be. I think the students would like it. A lot of students like doing the traditional stuff. They're just hesitant about it. And I think it would add a lot to their confidence and general skill sets. Especially, I think, in the face of kind of all the AI nonsense, the bubble, what's, building to a bursting point, I think. Um, that's how I generally see the big bubble. But I think in the kind of the face of that technology, I think there's going to be a lot of space for authenticity, and I think traditional media kind of lends itself to that kind of bespoke, authentic experience. It's not an absolute thing, but it's kind of what I've been thinking about. But I think giving students more techniques to expand from, rather than just relying on the computer. I've also been thinking about it kind of in the aftermath of Lightbox. There was a presentation discussion by Doug Chang, who's like a creative executive. He's old time like concept artist. He's been at it a long time, but he's at Lucasfilm, and he kind of in charge of a lot of the designs for things ever since the Clone War. Well, since the Phantom Menace. He's been kind of active with Star Wars, and he was commenting that he likes to see real sketchbooks, just because there's nowhere for people to hide in them. That they can't use any special techniques, or they can't use smoothing or AI or any other kind of cheats or algorithmic effects, because it's just a drawing, especially pen and ink. Yeah, well, it's like this Hunt 102 that I'm using here. I mean, traditional like comic book inkers, like they still use it. It's been around for a long time. It's one of the popular crow pens or nibs. And there's like specific technique things that they do, but it has a certain kind of effect. I mean, I like gel pens. I used to use Uniball. I'd get a pack of like Uniballs for Christmas or my birthday or whatever growing up. But I want to kind of get some better crow quill and inking skills with these nibs. Trying to keep all these lines super straight. I wouldn't mind trying. There's these glass dip pens that I think would be kind of interesting to try sometime. I think I was commenting on a different metal tip pen that I did find actually eventually one of these days earlier. Used it for a couple days. Kind of reminded part of the reason why I stopped using it is like it's hard to get like super fine lines on it like you can with this one. I think it has its place, but this is from a reference image on Pinterest. So I'm not getting yelled at by the algorithm, so I guess that's good, right? I was using some nude graphite reference pack stuff a couple days ago, and the internet was yelling at me that I'm a bad person. Like they're a bot on one of the channels. It's annoying, you know. It's like it's nothing lurid. But oh well. Morning, people popping in. How are we doing for time here? 44 minutes in. Yeah, so before I was drawing from a book. I was using Terrell Whitlatch's Science of Creature Design, and I was sketching from that. So one of the things I've been wanting to do is kind of study more from the art books I buy. And so I've been kind of in a process the last couple of years of doing that. I've actually got a stack of them downstairs, like 6 or 7 books where I've drawn on both the front and back of each page. So there's a lot of stuff in there. But yeah, I was just about to finish that book up. I actually started back in September, and so the superhero dinosaurs I was drawing were from that book. So they weren't my ideas; they were just in her book. And so the idea behind sketching from the books, though, is to, like, see what the artist sees, and kind of incorporate different things into your practice. Like for her especially, it's one of the things that's really important to her is the structure and anatomy of animals, and kind of respecting that. Not just making random things, but understanding how they would actually function, even if they're completely invented. So that's one thing that's really great about her approach, is that kind of depth of experience. So that's where those were coming from. That's the thing I typically draw on my own. If you go to like my Instagram, which is Rainland Studios, RAINLAND Studios, you kind of see more of what I typically do on my own there, or just one that's based off my name, which is Peter Sakovich. refill my water bucket. It's getting low. So I decided to switch over to do some figure stuff. I want to play around with some kind of design aspects of the figure. Let's use you. These lines straight. So like right now I'm trying to do the figure really boxy. So I'm trying to keep all the lines super straight, use long straight lines. So it all feels really, really boxy as an exercise. Might do some anatomy studies, some close-up studies, that kind of thing for the next bit. Yeah, so that's what was going on with that. So that project's done. I finished that off a few days ago with the Terrell stuff. Thought about doing another book, but I think I want to do this for a little bit and then maybe look at a different book later on. I was looking at maybe the Marcus Mateo Meister, especially his second book on perspective, where it's more about the figure, kind of his approach to putting the figure in space. So I did copy his frames book, framed ink book already. And he's just got a lot of really great stuff in there, worth paying attention to. Looks like you did. Shame on you. This counts as an absence. Exactly, right? Gotta be here on time, even if that time is inconsistent when it starts. I need more angular things, right? Could do, loops too. I mean, everything's, relatively valid. And we'll break out the white out from deleter. Is that a curve? Just realized I did that. It's much easier for me to kind of bounce around rather than do these kind of rigid straight lines. As long as they're short, I guess, in staccato, I can do straight lines. But I'm used to, bouncing curves around on the drawings. Adam Hughes, yeah, he's great. Well, I think probably thinking of a different Adam Hughes. I think probably more of the comic book one over a poster one. Yeah, the propagandists, they like those like super crisp, clear edges. Kind of reflects the approach to morality in an ideological state like that. It's one of the reasons why classicism is always so popular with propagandists and totalitarians, because it's kind of a reflection of their fixation on absolute clarity in their mission and their purpose. So it shows up in propaganda a lot, whatever the state, so the Soviets and the Nazis or other similar groups, probably Chinese propaganda, old school American propaganda, definitely. So, I think it has to do with the clarity that they're looking for in their purpose and their unity. That it helps communicate that. Oh yeah. I know I have had relatives that were still in Lithuania during the Soviet era. There weren't anybody I met. I think my great aunts, who I have no memory of, they went back and visited some of them in Lithuania in I think the 70s. I would be curious if there's any information about that trip somewhere. Doubt anybody that was there was still It was like a small child or something is still around. But I don't know what part of Lithuania they were living in when they went out there. Well, it gets you very excited, right? You're like, I'm gonna go to war and die for this country because they got really nice posters. And they give me moral clarity, right? I did do a Soviet-style illustration for Stolichnaya vodka. It's a Soviet-era brand, but it's actually run out of Latvia. I did a vector illustration for them of a cosmonaut a long time ago. Not like the best thing ever done. I'm not really a vector artist, but they were like, "Can you do it?" I was like, "Sure, I can do that." For a little firm in Lithuania called Not Perfect. Yeah, it was wild times, right? The Soviets, they, yeah, it's actually it's funny. I think it's is it Jimmy Durante, the reporter for the New York Times who went out there during that era, and he lied about everything that was happening because he saw all the problems, and he came back and told Americans that everything was fine. In fact, the project was going really well, and people were happy and doing, not starving and all these other things. And he won the first, I think it's the first Pulitzer was given for that reporting, and it was all false. I don't think they've even ever withdrawn it, which is interesting. It's pretty well established that he lied. I think it was the first Pulitzer. Yeah, but he went out there and came back, and I guess he was totally into the commie thing. It's like, well, you got to make excuses, right, for all the horrible death and murder going on around me. Because after all, this is the you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. But yeah, I got a Pulitzer for it. I have not. Now, just moving forward, right? How are we doing for time? All right, we're at an hour. I might do a little touch up with some of the black ink. Actually, realized a spot I forgot to put some of the shadow on. Where did that land? Oh well. Specifically right there. Guess I should put some white on the back of that leg too, huh? Let's see, where did that brush go? That must have been what fell off the table there. Where did it land? Let's see. So over there. There. I wonder if my dog saw where it went. How you doing, Bosch? Where's my brush? Oh, there it is. Along with this pen nib. Fell inside the drawer. There we go. Got everybody out. Alright. Yeah, I forgot to put it back here along the back of her leg with the rim light. There, that's better. Now I'll clean up the lines a little bit here. Wrong dip. Fish some of that ink out of there. Alright, I think I'm going to call it there. So thanks everybody that came in. I appreciate it. Got to move on to some other things to do this morning. Like one is scooping. Maybe I can use this as a scoop. I got a little daub of black ink in there by accident. See if I can't carefully. There, we got it. Got it out. Whew. Don't want да. До следующего раза, товарищи. Давай пожалуемся и увидимся в скором будущем. Have a good day. I'll be back on later today. We'll see how things go, but I work on that grease pencil thing over in Blender a bit. But yeah, we'll see everybody later. Ugh.